Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of exercising. Now, we all know that we should exercise. That isn't going to come as a surprise to any of you, it's not new information. But I wondered how many of you know why we should exercise and understand what it actually does for you, what's actually happening in our bodies. I know for me, myself, again, it comes back to this motivation point and finding a why, really, I guess, that just going out to exercise because it's good for me doesn't really mean a lot to me. But if I understand, so I now know what I'm getting. So when I go and exercise, I understand what it's going to mean for me later in the day and what actual effect that's having on my body. And I can find that a lot more motivating because I can understand it and I can understand why it's good for me and what I get out of it. So exercise triggers a whole host of reactions and effects within our bodies. There's a whole load of stuff that happens when we start to exercise. But what's actually physically happening inside us? So one of the, more obvious ones, muscles need fuel. So to contract the muscle, to make a movement, we have to have fuel, we have to have an energy source, and that is effectively burning calories. So that's using up some of these sugars and these foods that we've eaten during the day. The energy that's used primarily is blood sugar, certainly in lower intensity exercise, and when we first set out, we're generally using up that blood sugar that sugar that's in our blood, which actually causes an almost immediate reduction in blood sugar levels and can help to improve the work of insulin, help us to stop becoming resistant to insulin, and can help to manage type 2 diabetes and also reduce our chances of getting diabetes. So that's really helpful in itself. So we've got this calorie burning, which most of us quite appreciate, certainly helpful if you're trying to work on lowering your weight, and also it can help us to manage our blood sugar levels and to keep our insulin working well. The other thing that happens when we contract our muscles is the muscles physically change shape and move around, and that moves things within your bodies. Now, we know that our blood systems, our circulatory system, has a heart, which is what pushes the blood around so it gets back into the heart. But by the time that blood's got down those big arteries, squidged its way through all those teeny little capillaries and get back into the veins again, it's lost a lot of that pressure. And so that blood trying to get back from your toes against gravity all the way back to your heart, it's fighting an uphill battle. It's not got much blood pressure behind it. So it really appreciates when your leg muscles contract and it squeezes those veins and sort of shoots that blood back up towards your heart. So it's really good for that and for helping to keep your blood moving properly and keep fresh blood to all of your cells. And there's another system that you may or you may not be aware of, which is the lymph system, which is very similar to your blood system, the circulatory system, and it goes to every single cell in the same way. But it has no heart to pump it. And principally what this is doing is it's taking a lot of the waste. So whereas the blood tends to provide things to the cells, the lymph tends to then collect a lot of the waste, the excess fluids, and it also is the home to a lot of our immune system. So where a lot of the white blood cells sit and work, and where the chemicals work. So sometimes you talk about having raised glands. If you're fighting illness, you might experience glands. You've got these nodules in your lymph system that become a bit sore, and that's where there's a whole load of antibodies being produced against an infection that's trying to get you. So this needs muscle activity to push it around, to move it, and so that all these waste products, excess fluid, can get back into the blood, can get processed and removed from our bodies. And so these white blood cells and all their chemicals can be moved to the right places where they can actually be effective. So we have to get our lymph moving so that we can have a healthy immune system, fight disease better, and also lower the toxins in our bodies. So it's really important just to get your body moving regularly throughout the day. It doesn't need a lot. Any sort of movement, wave my arms around, that's moving my lymph. Just not being totally sedentary. So another thing that happens is metabolic activity is stimulated when we exercise, and people talk about boosting metabolism, things like that with exercise. So what's happening is that inside every cell of your body, you have these little guys called mitochondria. And they're like your little power generators. They take in all this nutrients and this oxygen and they turn it into energy, which can be used by all of your body cells. Now, when we start to exercise and we start to exercise more regularly, and we have this increased requirement for energy by our bodies. The mitochondria replicate. We get more and more of them, and the more we have, the more energy we have, the more that is produced in our body. So you'll find that you end up with just a lot more available energy, and that when you then try and do exercise again later, it becomes easier. That's why exercise gets easier over time, because we can suddenly produce way more energy than we ever could in the first place. And the other thing that happens is that will happen over time is that you start to build up a bit more muscle mass. And muscle actually burns a lot more calories just to sit there and not even be used than fat cells. So if you build up your muscle mass a bit, you are automatically burning more calories, more fuel, sleeping, sitting all day. So that's a really great benefit if you're looking to get more weight loss, to try and burn more calories. So another thing that happens when our bodies start to exercise and start to move is that hormones are released, and some of these tell our bodies to convert fat into glucose to provide for increased muscle activity. So this is effectively fat burning, and this tends to happen and certainly gets used more and is more effective when we exercise for a bit of a longer period of time. So if we go for a longer sort of power walk, or a bit of a longer run, or some kind of work, like a longer workout, then we've used up all of that sugar that was roaming around our blood. We've used that pretty quick. We've used up our converted glycogen stores, so there's some energy stored in our livers and muscles, and we start to then have to use fats as another source of energy, and that's when we get this fat burning effect. And this is all because of hormones that are released as soon as we start to exercise. Another common thing that we know that happens to us when we start to exercise is you get out of breath, your breathing rate increases, your heart rate goes up whenever you start to exercise. And this is because we need to get enough oxygen delivered to all of the muscles so they can function properly. So we breathe deeper and faster to get all that oxygen in, to get it into the blood, and push that blood around harder and faster so that it can get to all of these cells. And the more that we do this, so the heart's the muscle, the more that we use it, the more, and again, the diaphragm and the muscles around the ribs that move the lungs, the more that we exercise these, the fitter they become. They get bigger, they get stronger, which then means that next time you try and do anything, it's easier. So over time we become fitter, and being fit makes daily life so much easier. Climbing the stairs, walking to the shop, running for the bus, just bending to pick things up, balance, any of these things, it just becomes so much easier, and life becomes easier when you're fit. It's one of the main reasons I try and stay fit now. If I stop doing it, or I can feel that body's just not as responsive, it's not as good. I love that feeling of knowing that I can bend for that, I can go and grab that, I can attempt to climb something, and that generally it'll work. I love that feeling of that inner strength. It feels amazing. So other benefits of a stronger heart: it improves circulation, and so as our heart builds, it can pump more efficiently without really having to work as hard, and it reduces the chances of heart disease by having a stronger heart in the future. And another side effect of this is that all this increased oxygen and this blood that's flowing around, so we get all this oxygen delivered up to our brains, which actually immediately improves our alertness and focus. All of those brain cells suddenly got all this oxygen that they really crave. And over time, apparently, this actually improves brain function and sharpens memory. So just getting into this habit of regularly just exercising and regularly just getting your heart rate a bit elevated is going to help your brain function actually over time, which is obviously quite amazing. The other thing that happens principally in our brains when we exercise is that on an evolutionary sense, it pays for our bodies to be able to keep running, to keep working, to hunt, to keep exercise, to keep moving. So our brains actually release a chemical, which is like a natural painkiller and a sort of mood enhancer, general feel-good chemical, so that when we're exercising, we can ignore the effect of the muscle damage, or the tiredness and things like that. So it produces this brilliant chemical called endorphins, and they make us feel great. And the effects actually continue along after the exercise is gone. So do a bit of exercise in the morning, and that you will actually experience endorphins and have a lifted mood for the rest of the day, which is obviously amazing. And it can actually play a role in treating depression. And again, I know I always feel great after. If I do a run in the morning, I feel awesome for the rest of the day. It's the days I don't get up and don't go for a run that I feel a bit. So that's definitely true. Another thing you might not think about with exercising is that, particularly weight-bearing exercises, so maybe not so much the 20-minute walk, but weight-bearing exercises stimulate bone formation and reduce the rate of calcium loss from the bones. So as we get older, particularly after having children, for us women, where sometimes we get calcium leached from our bones by our babies. Thanks, kids. And we can get osteoporosis, and we can get these sort of weakened bones. So actually, weight-bearing exercise, things like running or just jumping or skipping, climbing stairs, resistance trainings, just using something with a bit of weight, not like proper weightlifting, but just using our body weight for a bit of resistance is enough to help to stimulate this bone growth and make our bones stronger, and therefore reduce our chances of broken bones from falls and damage and things like that as when we're older. Another thing that exercise does for us is the repetitive movement. So our bodies they're working, they're doing their thing, but our minds don't have to think about it. So you end up with this sort of free mind to just to wander and clear, and it's a really good chance to just think and sort of get away from everything else and put a bit of perspective on things. So even if you're kind of crazy at work and you've got loads to do and you're trying to figure something out or you've got a problem to solve, sometimes just going out for a walk and just letting your mind just run through things. You can actually come up with solutions and problems, prioritise things, put things into perspective. So when you go back, you're actually a lot more efficient and effective and focused. So it's worth taking the time out to get out. I know from experience, when you're busy, it seems like the last thing that you should do, but it's definitely beneficial. The other thing about exercise is if it's quite strenuous, particularly, it's a really good stress reliever. So if you've had a bad day, go out, punch a bag or pound some pavements, or just push yourself. You almost take it out on yourself. Push yourself for a HIIT class, go at it. It's really good stress and anger and frustration reliever. It really gets it out, which is brilliant for your mental state, because we all need to manage the stress of our everyday lives. So, try to think of some downsides of exercise. I struggled because really there's not much that it does that's bad for you. It takes a bit of time. It does take time out of our busy lives. And it can make your muscles ache a bit. And you have to be bothered. It feels like a bit of a drag sometimes, but actually once you get into it, these things will kind of go away anyway. The only real downside I can think of is if you really push it and you over exercise, then you are stressing your body out. You are stressing your immune system, and you are causing yourself damage. So yeah, the thing is to just not sort of start from nothing, go into crazy hour workouts every day for a week, or just go out and run 10k when you not run. Don't listen to your body. Just take it easy, push yourself a little, don't go mad. And then I really can't think of any downsides of exercise apart from that. So now we've established that exercise is awesome and we should all definitely make time for it. How do we do that? How do we make it part of our routine? So I've just got a couple of tips, things just to try and help you think of ways to just build it in and get out there. So make everyday activities more active. Do things by hand, maybe like wash the car or walk to the shop. If you're just going to go pick up a bit of milk and bread from the shops, chuck on a backpack, walk to the shops, walk back. Personal favourite of mine, dancing while cooking or cleaning. I never do any house chores without music on and dancing around like a loony. It's great, gets you moving and it's fun, makes cleaning more fun. Get active with friends and family. So things are generally more fun together. So if you're meeting up, rather meet up for a coffee and a chat, meet up for a walk and a chat. Not only are you not likely, not spend have God knows how much a coffee costs these days. I don't drink it, but you're not going to spend money on that drink, and you're not going to be piling in fats and sugars into yourself. You're going to be out getting exercise, and you can chat just as well. and you won't even notice that you're walking by chatting. I love a chat and a walk. Join classes together. Don't have to take it too seriously. Join a beginner's Zumba class or like something like that you can just go in and just try your best. It doesn't really matter if you're not getting all the moves right, and partly looking like a bit of an idiot is kind of part of the fun of that, really. Getting it all wrong and laughing. It's part of the fun. Start a sport. It doesn't have to be like joining a professional team. Just find someone that will just go and play tennis with you or something, or badminton. You can both be rubbish. It'll be fun again. Just keep running after the shuttlecock. It's exercise. Some people find it motivating to keep track of their progress. So a lot of people like to get a Fitbit, track their steps. You can get a bit competitive with yourself, see how you're doing. You can track against friends. They can all follow you. But some people find that that's really motivating. So if that works, that's the kind of thing that might work for you. Consider getting a Fitbit. You can get them for like 10, 20 quid now. They are not, you don't have to get a proper Fitbit. There's so many step trackers and stuff. Make it more fun. Exercise really shouldn't be a chore. It can be really enjoyable. There's so many ways of exercising that it's just about finding the one that works for you. Vary it up. If you're getting a bit bored of one, change it up. I like listening to music. I love to listen to music when I'm on a run or when I'm, cleaning, dancing around. If you can, obviously watching TV at the same time doesn't work for most exercises, but if you have the luxury of like a running machine or something at home, do things in front of the telly. Just watch the telly and just stand and just walk on the spot. It's still exercise, right? And finding things from home. So obviously a lot of us, it's hard to get out the house because we've got children at home during the day. You can't just obviously leave and go off on a run. And then in the evenings we're trying to cook dinner, or the kids come and need you for something. Find an online class, do something that like an online video, and then you can just play it. You can be doing it, pause it, sort the kids out, stir the rice, whatever you need to do, come back and carry on with it. If you get 20 minutes of it done, that's fine. It's still exercise, right? It's just finding ways to fit these things in around the rest of your life. Make it something that works for you and your life. So I hope that helps. Thanks for listening, and let's get out there and do some exercise. Speak soon.